that was a long shoot. Let's see how the footage turned out. First time using these new microphones, so hopefully they sounded alright. Okay, hey guys, so I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to improve your audio quality. So maybe you shot it too quiet, or there's too much background noise, or it wasn't shot professionally. I'm going to give you some of the methods that I use to improve my audio quality. So we're in Final Cut Pro right now, but this can work in any software. Here's my last video that I shot. Obviously I would recommend both, because they're both used for different situations. Alright, so this audio already sounds pretty good because I shot it, with high quality microphones in a quiet environment, but there's always improvements that can be made to sound more professional. I'll show you first some of the basic methods that I use just to make it sound better. First thing I'll do is I'll chop up all the audio and I'll just boost the volume up a little bit just to get it closer to a proper volume, if it was shot too quiet, that is. So just level out your audio, make sure it's at a good volume. Next, so I'll cut up all the clips and then I'll create a compound clip, just because I'm going to add some voice isolation. And if you don't create a compound clip, the voice isolation can be a bit choppy in between takes. So now the voice isolation in Final Cut Pro is pretty good. I don't use it very intense, or maybe have it on like 20%, whatever sounds good. I just want to get rid of some of that background ambient hissing noise that you get. It just cleans up and focuses a bit more on the voice. So voice isolation, 15-20%. This is before and after with that. But if you're buying your first microphone, maybe you're working for some clients and they need a talking video, so you're out trying to look for a microphone. Might be kind of hard to hear unless you got headphones on. Next, we're going to add a channel EQ. So this is built into Final Cut Pro. If you search up channel EQ and you just drag this on, in the audio section, you're going to get a little box in the corner of the channel EQ. So click that box with the dials, and you're going to get this little graph thing. So this is the whole spectrum of the audio waveform. So down here, you got your low frequencies, and up here you got your high frequencies. If you click Analyzer down on the bottom, it'll show you the waveform in real time. Alright, so what's up guys? As you can see, so that's what the audio is doing. So you can see where most of your audio is. For voice, it's usually around the middle. Should I buy wireless mics? So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to boost some of the high frequencies. So I boost above 1K. So I'll grab this N1 here, and I'm just going to drag this up a little bit. So you can listen to it as you do it. I'm going to drag it up maybe almost at 2K. Just a bit, not too much. And I'm going to drag this N1 maybe below 80, just to get rid of some of the low frequencies you don't need. So play that. But if you're buying your first I'll turn it on and off so you can hear that before and after. Some clients and they need a talking video, so you're out trying to look for a microphone. Like, which one should you get? On. Do you need wireless? Can you get on camera? They both have their advantages and both have their disadvantages.
That's off.
There's a lot of reasons why you would want this one. On. Because I use this one probably most of the time. Because you probably see a lot of people with wireless microphones, but me as a professional, so it'll sound a bit more. It'll sound a bit clearer because you've raised the high frequencies. So I'm gonna over-exaggerate with the high frequencies and raise them up a bit high. The disadvantages.
So you can hear it.
There's a lot of reasons why you would want this one, because I use this one probably most of the time.
And then that's with them down, so it gets all muddled if you raise them too far down.
So what we're going to do, we're just going to raise them up a little bit just to boost the high frequencies, but you don't want to do it too much. Mic most of the time. That doesn't mean that I would automatically go with this one for my first microphone, because now with all these little bands, actually we'll create a new EQ. Just chuck a new one on. Open that one up again. So what we're going to do is we're going to use all these to get rid of some of the bad frequencies. So some of the frequencies that are really harsh on the ear, especially if it's recorded and not a very good microphone, you're going to get a lot of bad frequencies. You can have it sounding a lot clearer and more professional if you get rid of them bad frequencies. So we're going to grab one of these, just raise it up and grab it by the edge, and we'll make it a bit smaller. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to just move around the waveform and try and find a frequency that's really harsh on the ear that I don't like. So I'll try and find a frequency that I don't like. Let's play this. My first microphone, because I actually bought the wireless go-tos for my first microphones. I had a client at a gym and he wanted to do some informational videos, talking. So I had to go out and buy microphones. And I did a lot of research and I went with the wireless go-tos. But now I've got this shotgun microphone. It's, such a lifesaver. Because these have disadvantages and then this has disadvantages. So I'm going to go over those. the pros and the cons of both. Okay, so the wireless are amazing microphones. As you can see, I'm using them right now. I've got one hooked up to a... Alright, that's a little bit harsh. I'm just going to bring that down, make it a bit smaller. Let's start with the pros. So, the first pro... We'll grab another one, same thing. Mic setup. So, not only can you just attach it to your shirt, you can attach it to a client's shirt. Always get good audio. You can connect these to your phone. Yeah, you can hook up a lav mic. Just going to lower it down. So you can use this little bottom section to lower it down, or you can just pull it down here. So once I find the frequency, I will just use this 24 plus right here, lower that down. For being able to conceal, you don't want to go too much because it's going to lower the volume of your audio.
You only want to lower the bad frequencies really, so I'm going to find...
If you get to charge them, they're on like
one more for now.
Quarter battery left, and they take ages to charge, and it's annoying to always worry about batteries, and depending on how long you shoot, you can do multiple shoots with these. They do last a little while. I find I always recharge them every time before a shoot.
It's a little bit harsh, so I'll bring that down.
Batteries, especially because the pack that I've got, it comes with 3 separate microphones. You got 2 transmitters and 1 receiver. So the receiver is on the camera itself, and the 2 transmitters are these 2 I've got now. So you can have them on 2 separate clients and get audio from both of those, and you got the on-camera microphone. But yeah, you got to worry about charging all 3 go to anything. So it ruins my whole setup, and I got to wait for the receiver to charge. And one con.
Alright, so I'm going to do a before and after with both of those EQs on, just so you can see what it sounds like. So
it's annoying to always worry about batteries, and depending on how long you shoot, you can do multiple shoots with these. They do last a little while. I find I always recharge them every time before a shoot. Can be annoying to always worry about the batteries, especially because
so you can hear it's a lot clearer. Just sounds a bit more professional. So we got rid of some of them bad frequencies, and we boosted the high frequencies and got rid of some of the lows and things we don't need. Now I'm going to add a compressor. So a compressor pretty much raises the low sounds, and it squashes the high sounds and flattens everything out, so it sounds a bit more even. So we'll search up compressor, chuck that on. Same thing, open that up. So if you talk really quiet, then you talk high, very dynamically. It's just going to help even everything out to make it easier to listen to, instead of needing to turn the volume up when you're talking quiet, and then it gets too loud. So it will just kind of squash everything together, make everything more even. So I'm just going to turn these down. So the ratio, attack, just leave it on something fast. Same with this, just around the bottom. Now I'm just going to pay attention to the input gain. I'm not going to go into too much depth on the compressor. I'm just going to show you some basics.
I find I always recharge them every time before a shoot.
Have a look at the input. You don't want that clipping, so if it's in the red or yellow, it's too loud.
It comes with 3 separate microphones. You got 2 transmitters.
Right, so that's not bad.
Because you do a shoot.
So we're going to raise the threshold up until you start seeing the needle move, pretty much.
Like a quarter battery left, and they take ages to charge.
We'll raise the ratio up
worry about
to
batteries, and depending on how long you shoot, you can do multiple shoots with these. They do last a little while.
And the threshold you just raise up until
every time before a shoot. Can be annoying.
You want the needle to be hitting around that -5
especially because the pack that I've got, it comes with 3 separate microphones. You got 2 transmitters and 1 receiver. So the receiver is on the camera itself.
So around there looks
and
good.
the 2 transmitters.
You keep the attack fairly fast.
So you can have them on 2 separate clients
and the release,
audio from both of those, and you got the on-camera microphone. But yeah, you got to worry about charging all 3, making sure all 3 are charged. And I've had it before where I've done...
You don't want to go too intense with any of these effects. They're just add-ons to help it sound a little bit better, and everything adds up. I'll show you a before and after we've added all the effects on. So next I'm just going to add a limiter. Limiter is very, very similar. It will squash everything, and it won't let it clip. And by clipping I mean get too loud. So you can raise the gain up and you can make it louder without it going too loud, pretty much. So we'll change the output level something minus 0.2, and then we're just going to pretty much bring the gain up until it's at a good volume.
Wireless microphones, a point.
So just watch this input here. You don't want this going over 0 too much, because 0 is pretty much as loud as it can be. So if it goes over 0, it'll reduce the sound. So you only want it to go over 0 with the higher sounds, and it will just bring those down.
One con that they do have is they run out of battery fast. Now, they'll last you a whole shoot, don't get me wrong, But it's annoying because you do a shoot and then you might do another shoot 2 days later or something.
So we're getting a little bit of reduction just
they're
on
like
the peak sounds.
a quarter battery left, and they take
Perfect.
ages to charge. And it's
gonna
annoying
put
to
this on
always
legacy too.
worry about batteries. And depending on how long you shoot, you can do multiple shoots with these. They do last a little while. I find I always recharge them every time before a shoot. Can be annoying to always worry about the batteries.
So the limiter will pretty much, you can raise the volume of the overall sound, but it won't let the peak sounds go over zero, pretty much. It'll keep squashing those in as you raise up the sounds, if that makes sense. Because you don't want the sounds, you don't want the volume to be over zero, because then that's when you get that peaking, clipping sound, which sounds bad. So that's the basics of what I'll do to my audio. So we're just going to listen to it before and after with all the effects on.
It's annoying to always worry about batteries, and depending on how long you shoot, you can do multiple shoots with these. They do last a little while. I find I always recharge them every time before a shoot. Can be annoying to always worry about the battery.
I'll do a brief summary. So we've just added some channel EQs just to get rid of some of the bad frequencies that we don't want to hear. Because I'm just showing you guys, I'm not going too into depth on the EQs, but if it's bad audio, you want to spend a bit longer, just search for those really bad frequencies and just get rid of them all. And then we got rid of some of the low frequencies because we don't need anything under 100 really. And anything over like 15k or so, don't need for speaking things. So yeah, so we've got rid of some of the bad frequencies. We've tapered off the top and the bottom of the EQ. We've added a compressor to help squash the sounds together. Just remember though, that because you're bringing up the low sounds, if there's a lot of background noise, it's going to bring those up too. So keep that in mind. Because we added some voice isolation, it shouldn't be too much background noise, so we can bring the low sounds up and have it still sounding very clean. And then we just added a limiter to help bring the sound up a bit louder without it clipping. So that's the basics of what I'll do. And what you can do, you can save effects preset down here. Then you can just apply it to all your videos. But you may need to go back into the EQ and the volume adjustments and just, play around with those a bit, depending on what kind of audio you got. If it's the exact same audio, you can just copy and paste, but you may need to make some slight adjustments. Yeah, so there's some basics of what I'll do to my audio just to get it sounding a bit better. A bit better, more professional, a bit more present. Now, usually I'll put my headphones on and I'll do it properly, but that's just there. This is a brief run over of basically what I do. Now, if you've got really bad audio, just say you shot it way too quiet, you need to bring the sound up and there's so much background noise, this process might not be enough. The voice isolation can sound a bit, not that good. There's a lot of AI softwares that you can use to improve audio. One that I've been using is Adobe Podcast. That's a really good one. It's free as well. You can pay for it, but the free version, you can put audio in and then getting it to sound pretty good. So I'm going to show you an example of Adobe Podcast with some worse audio. So this is some audio I shot for a client.
This is where we get stuck and now we're bored, or now we need that validation. Or
So there was a lot of background noise. The microphone was under his shirt. It was rustling a bit. The audio didn't turn out that great. So I'm going to show you the process of what I would do. So what you can do, you can go into Adobe Podcast, enhance speech, and you just drop your audio into here, and it'll pretty much run it through the software and it'll enhance it. So if you get the paid version, you can play around with all the settings, which I highly recommend. If you're doing this regularly, it's worth getting. But I'll just show you what it sounds like before and after. Yeah, this is a lifesaver if you've got really bad audio. It'll make it sound pretty much like you're in a podcast studio. It can sound a little bit robotic sometimes, but I'll show you before and after with this.
And most people do that. They'll just go to the program of life and not design their life. I think one of the things we've identified is through Primal Warriors, a lot of men just sort of go out and say, what do I do in this world? And this is where we get stuck, and now we're...
Alright, so big difference there. But sometimes it can sound a bit robotic. It's AI, so it's not perfect, but you can get it sounding pretty good. If you put music on this as well, some background music, it's going to sound really good. And if you notice it sounds a little bit unnatural, you can blend it in with the original audio. So you can turn this down to like -5, and then have the original audio playing too, and it will just boost the volume. You can play around with that and you can mix it in. I've done that before. You can get it sounding pretty good. What I would do with this is I would put the audio through this first before doing any adjustments, and then I would put it into my software, and then I would add on the effects. I'll download this and show you that. Alright, so I'm just gonna put this audio here, copy and paste all the settings that I just used. I'm gonna take off voice isolation though, because we don't need that, but I'll show you what it sounds like. So okay, so this was before.
I'm a worry is a lot of men just sort of go out and say, what do I do in this world? And
After.
this is where we get stuck, and now we're bored, or now we need that validation, or we want to build that identity around other people rather than ourselves. And then
Here's the enhanced audio from Adobe Podcast, but without my effects on it. So I'll turn my effects off, show you what it sounds like.
I'm a worry is a lot of men just sort of go out and say, what do I do in this world? And this is where we get stuck, and now we're bored, or now we need that validation, or we want to build that identity around other people rather than ourselves.
So what you can do, you can go under the channel EQ, and we can raise up the high frequencies a bit more if we need
just
to.
sort of go out and say, what do I do in this world? And this is where we get stuck, and now we're bored, or now we need that validation, or we want to build that identity around other people rather than ourselves, and end up in the wrong spaces.
So you can get it sounding really good. So hopefully this helped you understand a bit more about audio and how I improve my audio to sound a bit more professional. That is some of the basics I do. There's other websites and other programs you can use. On other softwares, it's a similar process. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. See you guys in the next video.